Michael O'Fallon, he tweeted, if you are a Christian and care about defeating the Marxist woke, you will do everything in your power to remove those that brought woke into your churches. So big accusations that are being made here. All right. So you will do everything in your power to remove these guys. And he says Al Mohler, which if you're going thinking of like woke people, I don't think Al Mohler is like at the top of that list, but he's at the top of this list. Danny Aiken, he's the president of Southeastern. He gets thrown a lot of shade because, different things like having, oh no, a female who graduated with a degree that included Greek. Oh no. But, and Duncan and Keller, Tim Keller's always thrown into these things. Ed Stetzer, it's just like a list of top evangelical people, like popular people. Russell Moore. I'm assuming that's not Beth Moore. But Russell Moore, J.D. Greer, Mark Dever, Kevin DeYoung, which is odd because Kevin DeYoung has made like the most noise, I would say, about critical race theory, and he's kind of pushed back a little bit at TGC, kind of being like, oh, let's tone down some of this rhetoric a little bit. And let's, like, to be fair, they did. Like, TGC hasn't been like super loud on these issues because they're about the gospel and not about politics. But Kevin DeYoung has been one of those people that's been like, hey, I'm kind of in this camp a little bit. He's had conversations that sounded pretty similar to people like Joe Rigney and Doug Wilson. And I did like that episode about patriarchy a few weeks ago. Like I focused on Kevin DeYoung's article because it was like basically promoting patriarchy. So like it's kind of weird that he gets thrown in here, but just I guess because he's associated with them, which is like the whole deal of today's episode, associations. But then John Piper, which super weird considering like he just had this big conversation with John MacArthur and they love Johnny Mac, but John Piper is thrown in here and Matt Chandler. Until then, go ahead and mute yourself, he says. So like a lot of people obviously read this and were like, wait, what? But I think what's happening here, because when we're talking about Michael O'Fallon and the reason why Costi Hen made such a big deal about, Michael O'Fallon being on the board of G3 and, having associations with weird people. Okay. Just like all kinds of weird teachers he's been associated with over political things, is because Michael O'Fallon is not a theologian. Michael O'Fallon is a politician and a strategist. And now, is he good at that? I don't know. But I think I see the strategy here is to make these people look bad to all the anti-woke people so they stop following them and follow other people. Like someone's got to fill the void. If we're going to get rid of these people who brought woke into your churches, which I guess woke is now a noun. I thought it was an adjective, but if they brought in woke into the churches, now they're going to leave. What that means is that there's going to be a vacuum here. Like there's someone needs to fill in these spots. And I think what Michael O'Fallon is trying to do is to put his guys into those spots. So take down the people that are popular today, or at least try to, and then push in these other people. And I think that's very similar to what we're seeing happening in evangelicalism today. There is a pushing out of certain voices and then a bringing in of other voices. We're seeing like this narrowing where we're getting to the point where like a fundamentalist can go and write for G3 and it fits in just fine. Because we're just like getting so conservative, or if you're not into that circle, then you're getting forced out of that circle and saying that, well, you must be a liberal because you agree with, whoever, uh, whoever Michael O'Fallon says you shouldn't be listening to. Like that's what's going on. We're seeing like this. Oh, I need to get that button put away. All right. Bothering me of seeing the like thing. You don't have to like it that many times. Just like it once, okay? But yeah, we're just seeing like this narrowing and welcoming of more conservative voices now, and we don't see like a reaching out. And this is part of the thing that I think makes like the T4G thing closing down so sad, is because I think we're getting to a point where those kinds of more welcoming organizations, ministries, um, denominations are going to start, circling the wagons, and we're just not going to have those things anymore. Like, I think the writing's on the wall about the Gospel Coalition, and I don't like saying that. Like, I like the Gospel Coalition. I don't agree with every article, obviously, with that, like, the bus article, like, no thanks. But, I like those guys. And it just seems like we're getting away from being able to have those big organizations and like these other voices like G3. They've said things about the Gospel Coalition up here in Canada. We got a lot of people, like I talked about it a couple months ago now, but we got a lot of people that just hate. Like, it's not just like dislike. I'm talking full on hate the Gospel Coalition Canada, because of stances on politics rather than on theology. And so, like, we're just seeing like a lot of these conservative voices saying this is what it looks like to be faithful, and pushing out other people and bringing, really, really conservative voices into their fold, while pushing out people that aren't that different, but because they don't say the right thing about, critical race theory or woke, which again, I guess is a noun, because they don't say those things, they get pushed out, even though their theology hasn't changed. Like this list here, let me go to this one. Like those guys haven't changed. Like, look at these guys. Which one of these guys has changed? No one. Now, if you were to put like someone like John MacArthur, I think his rhetoric has changed quite a bit. Voddie Baucham, I think his rhetoric has changed quite a bit. But John Piper's saying the same stuff John Piper's been saying like this whole time. If you agree with him, disagree with him, that's beside the point. But he's been saying the same stuff. Matt Chandler has been saying the same stuff. J.D. Greear hasn't changed. Like, these people that they're looking at and saying like, oh, these are the bad guys, which, like, that is what's being said here, okay? This is not just like, oh, you shouldn't be around these people. It's get rid of these people. Like, because they brought in the woke. You will do everything in your power to remove those. Remove them. And so it's just weird to me that these like voices are getting pushed out while these super conservative voices, these fundamentalist voices, are getting added to these supposedly interdenominational ministries.